Word on the street is Gotti might be the next one to fall, because whispers say the feds are lining up an indictment against him tied to young Dolph murder. And the biggest smoke is coming straight out of the courtroom, where Hernandez Goven's trial is about to shake everything wide open. Some insiders swear Goven already flipped, pointing his finger at Gotti and his brother Big Jook, who just so happened to end up dead not long after those rumors started swirling. So now the question is, was Big Jook's silence to keep Gotti safe? Because let's keep it real, everything in Gotti's world was running too perfect for him to risk it all. He had Angela Simmons on his arm, CMG was on fire, and his artists were running the charts. Why would he blow that on an old grudge, unless he had to tie up the loose ends? Now let's talk about that trial. After being delayed more times than a mixtape that never drops, Goven's case is officially locked in to start August 18th, 2025, just days away. And this ain't some petty charge. He's looking at first-degree murder, conspiracy, and even attempted murder for allegedly masterminding the Dolph hit back in 2021. But here's where it gets strange. The case is sealed up tight. On July 29th, Judge Jennifer Mitchell locked down motions and rulings behind closed doors. No public access, no transparency, just silence. That's not normal, especially in a high-profile murder case tied to one of Memphis's most beloved rappers. When the courtroom goes quiet like that, it usually means deals are being cut or big names are being protected. And the streets can't stop talking about the bond situation. Somehow, Hernandez Goven, the alleged shot caller, is out on a $90,000 bond, even after violating it. Meanwhile, the shooters, Justin Johnson and Cornelius Smith, are still rotting in jail with no breaks. That don't add up. People close to the case believe this isn't just luck or strategy. They think Goven already handed the feds the keys, maybe even dropped names like Big Jook or Gotti. When you line it up, the sealed files, the reinstated bond, and a trial days away with the star defendant walking free, it doesn't look like coincidence. It looks calculated. This trial could reopen Dolph's case in a way we haven't seen since 2021. And if Gotti's name slips out in that courtroom, this could be the most devastating fall Memphis rap has ever seen. Prosecutors already hinted that Big Jook put up $100,000 to make Dolph vanish. According to both paperwork and street talk, Goven was a middleman who connected the bag to the trigger pullers. Basically, Jook moved the pieces, Goven played the game, and CMG might have been the board holding it all up. But here's the wildest twist. When the shooters finally got paid, they only saw $800 to $1,500 each, and it came from Jook, not Gotti. That detail alone has everyone asking, was this a CMG finance hit or was Jook moving rogue? Because if that money trail leads back to CMG, Gotti's empire is officially staring down federal crosshairs. And it don't stop there. Big Jook was gunned down in January 2024, less than a year before Goven's trial. The timing feels off. Goven had already been arrested. Rumors of him flipping were everywhere, and then suddenly Jook gets taken out. Some say it was retaliation, Dolph's crew striking back. Others whisper it was a clean-up job to make sure Jook couldn't testify or drag anyone else down with him. Either way, the timing has the whole city on edge. Someone taking Jook off the map before he could be turned into a witness against bigger names. And when you line that up with Goben's trial being sealed, him walking around on bond, and Gotti refusing to say a word about Jook's murder, the silence doesn't sound random. It sounds like strategy. Publicly, Gotti's been all smiles, award shows, flashy deals, cozy moments with Angela Simmons. But behind closed doors, people swear he's tightening CMG like never before, bracing for a storm. Because if Goben starts dropping names in court, the first domino everybody sees falling is Gotti himself. The reason his name won't leave the conversation isn't just about what might unfold in court. It's because the one man who could have taken the fall is already gone. Jook wasn't just Gotti's brother. He was a money brain, the logistic plug, and most importantly, the link between CMG and the very shooters tied to Dolph's murder. His death hit Memphis like a silent grenade. No suspects, no arrests, just a high-ranking street figure gunned down outside of restaurant hours after a family funeral. To anyone watching, this wasn't random. It was personal, surgical, and clean. Whether Jook had flipped or not, the fact that people even thought he might was enough to seal his fate. And what really fueled the speculation was Gotti's silence after the fact. No tribute, no statement, nothing. That quiet said more than 1,000 words. If this was unrelated, if Jook was acting on his own, you'd expect Gotti to defend his brother's name. But he didn't, which left fans and insiders whispering about a cover-up, not just payback, but a last-ditch effort to shield Gotti himself. With federal eyes hovering and Dolph's case warming back up, pulling Jook out of the picture might have bought him distance. Time to regroup. But the fallout didn't stop there. Losing Jook bled into his personal life too. Angela Simmons didn't slam the door in his face. She just slipped away quietly, respectfully, on her own terms. Sitting with Angie Martinez, she confirmed it. Just weeks before Hernandez-Gobin's trial was about to kick off, Angela admitted she and Gotti were done. No drama, just soft words like all love and it was my choice. But anyone who caught the timing knew better. It wasn't heartbreak, it was calculation. Her reasoning, being in a growing and healing season.
Simmons, are you telling me right now you're in your single girl era again?
Yeah, I'm telling you that.
Paired with her timing made the message clear. This wasn't coincidence, it was strategy. Angela knows how the game works, and the last thing she could afford was being tied to a federal indictment with Dolph's name stamped all over it. If the walls close in on Gotti, it won't just crush him, it'll stain anyone standing too close. By walking away when she did, Angela didn't just leave a relationship. She stepped out of the blast zone before the explosion. Now Gotti's left without her. No brother, no ride or die, just pressure, heat, and the weight of a ticking courtroom. And Angela wasn't the only one who vanished. Black Youngster did too. You don't even need breaking news to notice. Just scroll his Instagram. The same man who built his brand flexing stacks, clowning rivals, and talking reckless about Dolph suddenly went dark. Silent. For someone who turned being loud into a career, this sudden disappearance isn't just weird. It's scary. In 2025, Black Youngster has nearly evaporated, like someone hit pause on his whole persona. And fans are starting to notice. Industry insiders are noticing, too. Some whisper is just laying low by design, maybe even under Gotti's orders, keeping the spotlight off CMG while the Gobin trial creeps closer. Others believe it's way deeper than that. Rumors say Black Youngster might already be under legal restrictions, or was already sitting in custody. And it's not just him. The entire CMG camp feels different. The branding, the tone, even the shout-outs. Everything's cleaner, quieter, like a label that knows a storm is coming and doesn't want to get washed away when it hits. Youngster's silence cuts the loudest because of his history with Dolph. This wasn't just rap competition. It was tension, disrespect, and direct threats exchanged on wax. If anyone had something to say now, it should have been him. But the quiet speaks volumes. Whether it's fear, loyalty, or a legal gag, nobody knows. What people do know is the timing lines up perfectly with everything else circling CMG. And when you zoom out, those moves don't look random anymore. They look like a survival plan. If you've watched how the feds build cases, you already know the playbook. They start with the shooters, flip a middleman, then squeeze the money guys until the boss is standing alone. That's textbook. And right now, Yo Gotti's beginning to look like the end target. We've already seen cracks forming. Justin Johnson and Cornelia Smith. One flipped, spilling details about promised money and who gave orders. That's leverage. That's how a life sentence turns into a bargaining chip. And now, the spotlight is on Hernandez-Gobin. If Gobin's cooperating, the feds aren't chasing the shooters anymore. They are chasing the architects. Who funded it? Who planned it? Who greenlit the hit on Dolph? If Gobin handed over text threads, Cash App receipts, or anything tracing money back to CMG leadership, that's RICO gold. That's when a street beef turns into a criminal enterprise in the eyes of prosecutors. And once they connect those dots, this case stops being about one man's murder. It becomes a blueprint for a takedown. That's why the pressure on Gotti is boiling. Because all roads lead back to the killing of young Dolph, gunned down in broad daylight at Makeda's homemade butter cookies in 2021. What started as a tragic headline is unraveling into what looks like an organized hit, carefully structured and now dissected piece by piece. If prosecutors can prove that structure, Gotti's name won't just come up in passing. It'll be stamped in bold on an indictment. The kind that doesn't target shooters, but whole organizations. The kind that flips the rap game upside down. And the strangest part? Gotti already moves like he knows what's coming. The same man who once flexed as the face of Memphis, who lived on red carpets and rolling loud stages, is now fading into the shadows. That's not ego. That's legal. Pullbacks like that don't happen unless the lawyers are in the room. And look at the circle around him. Jook executed in public as whispers of cooperation grew louder. Black youngster disappearing without explanation. Angela leaving quietly just weeks before Gobin's trial. Those aren't coincidences. They are warning signs. Here's where it gets deadly for Gotti. Cornelia Smith already testified that Big Jook promised $100,000 for the hit. Gobin acted as a middleman, but the payout was never finished. And when money doesn't land, loyalty doesn't last. That's a kind of slip that cracks a case wide open. Gobin is the only man left standing, not locked up, not dead. And the only reason he's still walking free? Because he gave them something. Something big. In a motor for hire case, it doesn't matter who pulled the trigger. It matters who paid for the gun to be fired. The law is crystal clear. Anyone who funded, planned, or knowingly allowed a hit to happen can be charged like they pulled the trigger themselves. If Ghosn really turned over phone logs or showed how CMG money was shuffled around in connection to Dolph murder, that's all it takes to put the whole camp in danger. And that's why this trial is so much bigger than a courtroom battle. The real game is happening in the sealed filings that the public can't see. Prosecutors don't hide evidence to protect criminals. They do it to protect ongoing cases. And the fact that Ghosn's pre-trial paperwork is locked away suggests someone much higher up is already under the microscope. And here's where things get deadly serious. RICO, the same weapon the feds used to bring down Death Row, BMF, and YSL. They don't just go after one shooting. They build it into a criminal empire. CMG checks every box. They are labeled with corporate paperwork, a money trail, public beefs, and direct links to violent acts. The Dolph hit isn't being treated like street drama gone left. It's being investigated like an organized hit for hire. And once that structure is proven, the entire label becomes fair game. That's the terrifying part for Yo Gotti. Under RICO, he doesn't have to fire a shot or even send a message. All prosecutors need to prove is that he knew what was going on and allowed it to play out under his watch. That's enough to take him down with the same weight as the shooters. And if that happens, it won't just be Gotti losing his crown. It'll be the collapse of one of the strongest Southern rap machines we've seen in decades. The dominoes are already falling, and this might just be the endgame.